Well, what is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Tim Hyde live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel on a Tuesday night. Appreciate everyone watching live, watching back, listening to the podcast version of this week's Notre Dame football show. Really appreciate it again, folks, for making us a part of your day. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content, and blueandgold.com is definitely the place to be. A lot of stuff going on right now. It's kind of the calm before the storm, but it's still just like the storm at Blue and Gold because we're very busy, churning out a ton of content. Spring ball around the corner starting next week, and also lots of recruiting. Lots and lots of recruiting. It's every day, new visits to report, five-star setting up visits, including Notre Dame in a top group. A lot of good stuff going on at blueandgold.com. So make sure you check it out. And then sometimes not so good stuff. And we're talking about that as well. We'll give you all of our perspective. Mr. Hyde, how's everything on your end, my friend?
Oh, it's really good. I'm reading the chat real quick. And I don't play Fortnite, but I think I am now that Otani's in it. I saw the little trailer last night. My son's a crazy Dodger fan, and he's like, "Dad, we got to play." I was like, "All right, I'll get my Singer. We'll create some characters. I have no clue, but I guess it's time to dive in now that Otani's going to be battling on that thing. So looking forward to that. Outside of that, it's spring ball. Let's have some fun.
Did not expect the conversation to go there, but I've never played the game. I've never played a video game in my life.
Exactly.
Folks, if you have not done so yet, please, again, hit the thumbs up on this video. Help support what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. So, Tim, I want to start real quick. We have a lot to get to today, so let's make sure we do that. This news came out a couple hours ago.
Okay.
4-star wide receiver Trent Mosley committed to USC. Picked the Trojans over Notre Dame and Stanford. His parents both went to Notre Dame, and his brother plays at Stanford. He is staying close to home. Now, this had kind of started to trend this way, kind of moving into 2025. But I was talking to a Notre Dame source last week and was hearing that this is not done yet. Notre Dame was working on getting an official visit scheduled. Notre Dame thought they still had a chance. And then, you think that, and then you get the bad call. But yeah, this is a sting for the Irish. USC's rolling right now. Notre Dame, save for some offensive line commitments, really hasn't, gotten too much traction on the recruiting trail in terms of new commitments, but it's still March 11th, so a long way to go. But Tim, thoughts on this news?
Yeah, you told me, 2 minutes before we went live. I've not been online. I've been on Twitter. I haven't seen this. So my instant reaction is, so much for the legacy, but we got Jerome Bettis. So there you go. We got Bettis, and SC gets Mosley. So we'll go from there. But
Bryce Young.
It's
Bryce Young. James Flanagan.
Yeah, Flanagan, I'm interested. So, but that's we'll talk about that when he gets here in the summer. But no, I mean, it's my initial reaction is a SoCal guy staying in SoCal. So I'm not. It's to me not as big as a gut kick as some. I mean, fans may think, oh, he should. He's a SoCal kid. And when SC spends money and they recruit hard in Southern California, they keep their own. That's been I mean, obviously everyone knows I'm from Southern California. I got buddies all up and down, coach all over the area. I got really good friends in the Trinity League itself. And Lincoln Riley hasn't spent too much time in the Trinity League. And guess what? There was a boatload of articles last year. The Orange County Register, the Pasadena News, the LA Times, the San Diego, you name it. And alums weren't happy. Obviously, they went 7-6. So this year they've started, and this has been a trend. I know Chad Bowden's going to get all the hype, but this has been a trend for really 6 months, trying to mend the fences in Southern Cal, and it's paying off. So Southern California, keeping Southern California kids home. Notre Dame just keep recruiting nationally and going from there. That's the way I look at it. So it's a kick, of course, because you're hoping one of the Mosley sons would come to Notre Dame, and now they're at Stanford and Notre Dame.
Or USC, yeah.
Excuse me, exactly, USC. But my take on wide receivers. There's 1,000 of them. Go find 3. go find 3, and every year save 2 spots for the portal. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
So go find a couple old guys and get some guys who could play in year 2 or 3, and we'll roll from there.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they're moving towards.
I hear you, but at the same time, of course, wide receiver recruiting, like you can look at a lot of the takes in a vacuum and they're good, but I would say generally, yeah, it's not been good enough. But still early in the cycle. We'll see. We will see. Let's move to some Notre Dame football topics here, Tim. I want to run through the injuries. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like on this YouTube channel we have really dove into this a lot. We've already done multiple videos on this, but the following Notre Dame players are out for spring practice: Jordan Botelho, Ashton Craig, Davion Dixon, Cooper Flanagan, Kahanu Kia, Chris Tarek, Boubacar Traore, Chance Tucker, Jalen Stroman. The only 2 that kind of like raise your eyebrows on this were Stroman. He was hurt last year. We knew that. But like, was he going to be healthy for the spring? He's not. He's going to be out. And then Davion Dixon, the incoming true freshman, I believe got injured last week. Jack Sobel told me. So, but any extra thoughts on this, Tim?
Yeah, for me, the kicker was Tarek because I really liked him, especially when he's gotten in on some of the, the backup time on games. He's been pretty fun to watch. Big, strong, powerful guy. The last lineman Harry Heastan got in that class. So I was looking forward to him. You know how I am a big believer in year 3. It's his year 3, hoping he would make a big push to solidify his shot up there in the 2 deep. Being out with spring with surgery stinks. So that one, the other ones I get it. Dixon's got a red shirt as a freshman, so not too worried about that. But to me, it was Tarek. Just being in year 3, a big spring for him, and he's out.
Quote from head athletic trainer Rob Hunt: Chris Tarek had some cleanup on his foot and will also have a second surgery on his shoulder while his foot is recovered enough. So Chris is going to miss all of spring here with us and fully be ready for the fall, end quote. So multiple injuries there for Chris Tarek.
But off of that real quick is obviously Traore, Botelho, Craig, well ahead of schedule according to the training staff. And these guys are workout warriors working their tails off. So that's big positive off of this group. Like they're fully expected to be ready to roll when summer conditioning hits, which is awesome.
And then, Tim, a group of players who are having individualized plans for one reason or another, guys that had big workloads or, maybe are dinged up and need some more rest. I don't know. But Josh Burnham, Bryce Young, Drake Bowen, Jalen Sneed, Leonard Moore, Christian Gray, Adon Schuler, Jeremiah Love, Emil Wagner, Jaden Greathouse. Most of those guys, tons of snaps. Bryce Young and Burnham, not as much. But everyone else is just like, these are big names on the team that took a beating, played a ton of football. I'm guessing that's like some of your guys. And Sneed, was hit or miss on some of his snaps. But, Bowen, Moore, Gray, Schuler, Love, Wagner, Greathouse. Some guys that played a ton of football last year.
Yeah, Wagner's like over 900 snaps. It's like a lot of damn football. To me, when I look at these, especially a guy like Sneed and Young, athletes that burn a lot of energy. Notre Dame, this goes back in the analytics, the catapult they use, that whole program of just monitoring how many calories, how much energy that their body is burning off and being able to store, maintain. So when I saw this list with some of those players, I bet you this was just data collected over all the season, and let's recruit these guys' bodies. Go out there, you got 15 spring balls, half of them are probably going to be helmet, shoulder pads, run around, some light work here and there, get what they get. And then these guys will rotate some, probably do a lot of individuals, some 7-on-7 when it comes to team on team. You're fine. You know what you're going to get from Drake Bowen. The guy started 16 games. So, and so many, obviously Leonard Moore coming on, Sneed being on there. That's why I said high energy. Guy goes 1,000 miles an hour when you watch him play. So it's probably just recouping that body. They probably saw going the analytics. This is all the stuff Freeman, the whole reason why he brought in Lauren Landau to bring all this NFL model type of action. So that's what I see with those numbers.
Okay. A couple housekeeping notes before we move on, Tim. For shows in the next week, we have the Notre Dame 6-pack tomorrow. Now, the men's basketball team won today, so I think instead of that 5 o'clock hour, which I absolutely love because it's like, do a 5 p.m. show when I'd be working anyways, put my daughter down, hang out with my wife, and have my night. Instead, it's, show at 8. It's kind of, inverse, but it's okay. So it's probably going to be a show at 8 tomorrow night, and that's the Notre Dame 6-pack. If you haven't seen it yet, it's kind of got a PTI type feel where we have 6 topics on the side of the screen and 6 minutes to talk about each of them. So definitely tune in for that. Jack Sobel and Tyler Horka do a great job. I'm on there. I host. I kind of, give some thoughts here and there, but I'm really just kind of there to tee up those guys. Recruiting show at 1 p.m. on Friday. And then next week, we are going to do flip-flop the 6-pack and then this show. This show will be on Wednesday, which is the first day of spring practice. I'm like 95% sure. And then the 6-pack will be next Tuesday. So we're going to have this show next Wednesday so we can recap spring ball with Horka, get him on here, talk about what the media got to see, which I can't remember how much they're going to be able to get that to see that day. I'm also not allowed to say or something. I don't know. It's policies. So just wanted to note that you guys got that. So 8 p.m. most likely tomorrow. And then Friday, 1 p.m. next Tuesday, time TBD for the 6-pack. Wednesday night, this show, and then we'll do a recruiting show next Friday. So just wanted to note that. And then also, Tim, I wanted to throw this out there. This is not even on the top, the list. We don't have to do an ad read for Roback today, but I'm rocking my Roback. I finally got the Notre Dame Golden Domer, and then Tim is wearing, which one are you wearing, Tim? This one right here, the solid collegiate quarter zip. So Tim loves rocking his Roback here, and I got my the Notre Dame Golden Domer. Promo code BlueGold20 gets you 20% off. If you guys see the bottom left here, what is it right down there? It says 15% off. We get you 20% off with promo code BlueGold20. So Roback, I'm telling you guys, it's amazing. I just got my father a Roback polo and my brother one, and they instantly called me up and thanked me. And they're like, "This is incredible." My father-in-law took it out, put it on to go golf, and got compliments. Absolutely loved his Roback. So I'm telling you guys, Roback. Check it out, roback.com. Okay, Tim. Notre Dame released spring practice availability update. Okay, so fully returned players: Jabron Payne, Styles Prescott, Tabron Benny Powell, Jason Anye, and CJ Carr. What stands out to you on that list? Oh, sorry, Tim, you're muted, brother. Rookie mistake. Mike Singer mistake.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, no, it's good to get all injured guys back. So obviously Payne back in the fold. That's going to be a battle in that running back room, right? Who the heck is going to step up in there? But that's why you hire the new running back coach, give him $1 million, figure that out. Prescott's awesome. Obviously the foot surgery last year. He's going to be able to get out there, super talented redshirt freshman. Benny Powell, long, curious to see what he does. Anye back. It's funny. I started looking at the D tackle depth, and yes, they lose Cross and Mills, but you got the 2 transfers. You got Anye, you got Rubio. You just got to figure out, one of the youngsters coming up to give you a 5th and a 6th. So D tackle depth's looking really solid for next year. So, and obviously CJ Carr is going to be up and running around, having fun, full battle in the spring.
Modified activity, which I guess is guys who are injured and maybe are going to do some light drills and stuff. Anthony Knapp, Cole Mullins, Will Pauling, not ideal. Billy Schrouth and Robbie Woolen. Woolen, I believe, is the walk-on. So, I've talked about this for weeks now, Tim. Spring ball is going to be, for the lack of a better term, disjointed. Good luck to have a quarterback battle.
Exactly.
When Knapp and Schrouth and Wagner and over half your starting line potentially is out or modified or individualized plan, whatever, potato. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, yes. I've already been, you and I have already been talking the last couple of weeks. How in the heck are you going to have a 3 quarterback race? How are you going to give equal reps to 3 quarterbacks? Then let's rest Greathouse. Your most skillful, twitchy, shake and bake wide receivers Faison. He's on the lacrosse team losing games right now. Then you got Pauling, who I absolutely love out of Wisconsin. Is going to play as much as me in the spring, it looks like. Fields is finishing up classes. who else? There's 4 out of your 5 top wide receivers aren't even going to go there. So how are you going to develop rapport? How are you going to grade in Jelly? Throw into the walk-on slot?
That's the thing that if this helps anyone, it helps the incumbent number 2. It helps the Angeli, the one who they've seen the most of.
Yeah, and I keep hearing everyone says this is going to be a Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Well, you could have 4 starters out this spring. Craig, obviously Schrauf, Knapp, Wagner's going to get some rest here and there, which is fine. Jagasaw he's going into year 3. He's played 3 games. So obviously he needs all the rep. There's just going to be a lot. I mean, thank God the 3 freshman offensive linemen are in there, or who's playing O-line, walk-ons. So, man, it is fascinating when you start seeing who's going to be matching up. How do you grade Minchie if he's got this collection of wide receivers and that guy who can't snap? Right? It's going to be wild how they mold this into a competition. So when I first saw these injuries and Rob Hunt comes out saying there's only going to be like 10 practices, it's probably going to be modified, from what it sounds like. So probably be a few more, which is fine. It's like even if it's just 7 on 7, just guys need reps, especially the wide receiver stuff. But
we do.
How do you do a competition is going to be the most fascinating.
There's not a competition. Brian, New York says there is no competition, Cars. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I mean, Tim, let's end the show there. There's no competition.
As I like to twist the knife and spin it a little bit, right? How are you going to go from 4 string to 1? So I guess he's already got it made up. From 4 to 1. Lock it in, right?
But you also thought that Carr was going to be the starter. That's what you said last week.
Oh, exactly. Because once again, I'm thinking a couple years at a time. So
Adam says there's no competition. Angeli's the man. TP Adam. So there you go. And Marcus Glasson says Buckner. Yeah, there you go. Buckner is much more of a lacrosse player than he is a football player, for what it's worth.
Exactly. But he's injured on lacrosse, I heard. So
yeah.
So we won't go there with the injuries and go from there. But no, the whole entire spring is just going to be an interesting story.
Let me add, Tim. Media gets to see
a couple.
Is significantly less the right term? I don't know because I don't have what last year's was.
It's less and less every year, which is like, hold on, a quick 10-second soapbox. Who gives a damn? What is the big deal? I mean, the press used to be able to go to practice and watch guys. Now you're like Fort Knox all of a sudden. It's like, go let guys watch some practice and watch the young guys, especially this year with half the team getting rest or injured. Who doesn't want to go watch some of these freshmen get reps and just talk about them in the future and everything? It's not like they're prepping for their Hurricanes in March.
I disagree. I disagree with you because if it is ugly and it's like, man, what do we have? You're just going to get a lot of negative press. And like, why they don't need to have media at any of it. They don't need it. It's good. Like it can be good, but yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's all about fundamentals. It's spring ball is about the future. You're not worrying about the guy who started 16 games. It's always about the next guys.
If media gets to go see practice and Jaden Greathouse is on the bike, what does everyone say? Jaden Greathouse is not practicing. That's why they had that whole press conference to give everyone the breakdown of injuries so that people don't lose their damn mind, which if things don't go out practice, Tim, you are correct. It's spring ball. This is for, instruction and learning. But if we say, hey, Kenny Minchie threw 4 picks, Steve threw 8, Carr through 12, everyone's losing their mind, and so I think it's fine to have that behind closed doors completely.
Fans are going to lose their minds anyway. I mean, they're losing their minds. Southern California guys are going to USC of all places. They're losing their minds. So that's what fans do, is lose their minds. But
the ones who watch our show and we love very much.
So that's why you're a fan. That's why you're a fan. Going back to Notre Dame's national brand, you got fans in 50 states. 50 countries enjoying it, learning and having fun. So there's nothing wrong with seeing who's who. That's the way I look at it. But it is what it is.
one of Tim Hyde's best Hydeisms is year 3 is the biggie. So let's talk about Tim. You wanted to discuss the class of 2023 and their third year. So this was a class that signed 23 players. It was the number 10 class in the country, down 4 spots from the 2022 class. But I don't know. I think this was the best class that Notre Dame signed, this 2023 class. Source at Notre Dame disagreed with me, thought it was 2024, but I don't know, man. This 23 class is pretty badass. At the top, you got Charles Jagasaw, Jeremiah Love, Drake Bowen, Christian Gray. Boom, right?
Yeah.
For keep Braylon James, didn't really work out. Jaden Greathouse, you got Kenny Minchie's in that class. Brennan Vernon, not quite working out yet. Jaden Osbury, Boubacar Traore. Let's just scroll through. Cooper Flanagan, hurt, but a solid contributor. Adon Schuler, a sophomore starter. Sam Pendleton's played a lot of football for the Irish, and that's about it in terms of guys who have played notable roles on the 2D. But yeah, let's talk about this class, Tim. What was on your mind with the 2023 cycle going into year 3?
Well, just going into spring, seeing some of the injuries, and then more importantly, me, I love to talk about, let guys develop. It's like, I can't tell you how many people I've coached or dads are like, oh, he's not gaining weight. Let him eat and lift. He will in due time. Same thing, with so many of these football players. So yeah, year 3 is a biggie for a coach, also a biggie for a football player. That's when you really start to establish yourself, upperclassmen, leadership starts to take so many shapes, with some of these guys. Obviously, Bowen's already being talked about as a captain. Christian Gray's tremendous leadership. And then you just go down, down the road. To me, it's obviously the D lineman. I know everyone hypes up Traore. Still only played a couple games in 2 years. So year 3 is still a biggie for him. We got to, and he was injured half his high school career. So can he finish an entire season? Obviously Greathouse is established. But in year 3, is KK Smith going to show up? Well, we've heard about him for going on 2.5 years now. So that's a biggie. Who's you got? Bowen. Flanagan's going to miss this year with the Achilles. But Houston, Mookum, you mentioned Brennan Vernon. There's 3 guys going into year 3 who is going to establish themselves out of that core to get into a 2 deep if possible. So like I said a few minutes ago, D tackled it. Team looks really solid right now. I didn't even mention Heinisch, excuse me. So you got Heinisch in there. You got your top 5 basically already established. So Zinter, super talented. Are they ever going to find a spot for him to get on the field? So no, it's just fun to look at because we're always so focused about the 26 class right now. Everyone's talking about the freshmen on campus, but this is the core of your football team is always really that junior class, those juniors.
Yeah.
The 22 class you mentioned, Mike, there's like 8 guys left. That they had 17 blue chips. I think 8 are left.
Tim,
so it's really taken a hit.
This blue chip ratio at 78% is impressive. And you look at the lowest ranked player in the class according to the On3 industry ranking, it's ranked 527.
Yeah,
that is not far from a 4-star.
No, exactly.
I think it's what, like top 400-ish or 4 stars. I think it kind of depends on the year, but
yeah, top 400.
I mean, goodness gracious, just scrolling through this.
It's a solid.
I remember a lot of Notre Dame fans and people with big Twitter accounts that are just Notre Dame fans and just tweet out takes, and everyone loves it. Micah Bell, how is he ranked so low? How does On3 rank Micah Bell a 3-star? Yeah, Micah Bell.
Well, that's one of those.
He's at Georgia. He is at Georgia.
Those corners who hasn't worked out. Yeah, he's definitely on that corner list who hasn't worked out.
Yeah,
so.
This receiver class was great with KK Smith, Rico on paper, Rico Flores Jr., Jaden Greathouse, Braylon James. Of that 4, it's really just Greathouse who's did Rico didn't do anything at UCLA?
He redshirted, played a couple of games, and ended up redshirting.
Oh yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
He was really good at Notre Dame for his freshman season, and then now Braylon James.
Scroll down just a little bit. There's one more you just passed. I was like totally on. Go down a couple more. Was it Houston? Was it Bill? There you go. Absher.
Yeah, big spring.
Yeah, big spring for him. Here's the ultimate year 3. Get beat up as a freshman, get your feet wet a little as a sophomore, highly, recruited, big time athletic prospect. Now it's year 3. Does he land in that? Does he fight for a starting job, or is he that 6th, 7th, like Rocco and Coogan were last year, next man in case something happens? So big spring for Sullivan.
Okay. Anything else with those 2023 guys, Tim?
No, it's well, the ultimate is you always look at who's the quarterback, right? So we'll see what that quarterback does that year. Does he survive in advance, or does he get sent home? So that's going to be, you always look at every class is your quarterback. So in 23, it's Kenny Minchie.
Prediction: one of the 3 transfers this offseason. That's my prediction. I don't see Notre Dame going into the fall with 4 scholarship quarterbacks. I don't, especially not when 2 of them are upperclassmen. Well,
you got 4 with Hebert,
junior.
You got obviously Buckner and Rezak could always, handle practice snaps for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do they all come back next year? And Grubbs is here. No one's talked about that. Or no one has to leave. Grubbs is here in January. You could have 5 on, right?
They don't have to, but someone will.
I feel you.
Grubbs will also do the bull practice rep thing. Like,
yeah.
All Notre Dame's quarterbacks are going to be doing that moving forward. Like that's
right, because he played in the All-American game as a junior, so he got that experience. And
sure, good point.
Yeah, that's a good point with the bull prep. Yeah, good call. Hopefully it's not the Pop-Tarts. So
yeah, Deuce Knight was going to do that, and then he obviously did, and then you get Blake Hebert last minute, and you get him even to participate. So, then let's talk about Augie's locker room, the destination for Notre Dame fans to get some cool memorabilia and unique, one-of-a-kind Notre Dame items. Always have new stuff. Talked about the rare Notre Dame and St. Mary's music sheet. I wonder how Augie comes up with some of the prices for this stuff, because this is like one-of-a-kind. Really one-of-a-kind stuff. And it's at Augie's locker room, 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend. Make sure you see the vintage helmet display in his store dating back to 1890. But if you can't go in store, you got the online store at augieslockerroom.com, or you can give them a call, 574-277-6363. Check out the Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockne items. You can find exclusive Joe Montana signed items and famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues around the stadium. And Augie gets new stuff in all the time, like a Notre Dame football mini helmet signed by Ben Morrison. Absolutely sick. I love it. And this stuff's not breaking the bank either. I mean, this is a few orders of Taco Bell right here, folks. So go to augieslockerroom.com. Check it out. 574-277-6363. All right. We have the show titled Burning Questions Going into Spring Ball. So this is what we're doing, Tim. You're going to give 5. I'll tee you up. I'll give my 5, and we'll go from there. So burning question number 1, Tim. Where do Knapp and Jagasaw play?
Yes, obviously Knapp, more than likely being out. It's one of those.
Okay, well, which one was he?
He's in that. Well, he had the ankle surgery after the Orange Bowl, so
he was modified activity. Yeah, but Tim, it's more about where do they line up?
Exactly.
Right. You learn a lot just by where they line up. So
yes,
does Knapp line up inside? Does Jagasaw line up at tackle? Right. That's your question.
So exactly. So Knapp, so when Horka and Sobel, and I'm sure Kyle Kelly will sneak in and watch a little bit. There is, if Jagasaw comes out and he's the left tackle, Knapp's going to be playing inside, because it's not like they're, you know what I mean? You're starting to prep and plan and put guys where they're going to play. I think that's something you really got to think about. If Jagasaw goes out there on practice number 1, Lambert's your left tackle, and Charles Jagasaw is your right guard, well, it's going to be a Lambert-Knapp battle for the left tackle. I think that's pretty obvious to me, because they're not going to all of a sudden, hey, Jagasaw, you go play right guard, and no, we're going to move you back in August. They're not going to do that. So to me, how this O-line shakes out, it really comes down to these 2 guys. Because Wagner, you're solid. You know where Craig's going to play. Absher's an inside guy. Billy Schrauf's obviously a guard. Lambert's a tackle. It's going to come down to these two guys. Where do they line up on that first one? So when Horker or Sobel write their little report, where's Charles Jagasaw at? Especially if Knapp's riding the bike.
You know the phrase "you look good, you play good." I'm not gonna lie, Tim. This I feel like $1 million. You feel like $1 million in your rowback, Tim?
I love mine. I actually wore I have the white one with the stadium, and I have a Shamrock one too. So, but I wear my white one all the time. I love it.
The Shamrock one, like the white one.
Yes.
The white one that I wear all the time with the little logo on it.
Yeah. Is that the one with the stadium, the little stadium?
Oh, yeah. The Notre Dame stadium one. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I love that.
It looks good. Okay. Question number 2: who emerges as a third corner? So, which of these younger? All right. So you got Gray, you got Leonard Moore. Who maybe emerges as the third one during spring ball? Is it Hobbs? Let's see. Dallas Golden. I think he's an early enrollee.
He's the summer.
Oh, he's a summer guy. Okay, yeah, right.
Is Tate Johnson stay at corner where he was practicing at the end of last year? Is he a nickel?
Tim.
I started thinking. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. No.
I just started. To me, it's obviously you need a third one. I mean, look who's emerged as the third corner the last couple of years. You got Ben Morrison in 22, Christian Gray last year, Leonard Moore this year, Mickey. The whole reason why Mickey has gone from Notre Dame to Cal to Boise is because of the corners, basically all passed him up. So it's just one of those things. Depth matters, obviously, especially if you don't want to play in the Gator Bowl or the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You need depth. And who's that third corner going to be that definitely needs to emerge? And it may not be in the summer when Zachary and Golden come here, but there are bodies, Hobbs, Johnson, that are on campus to where we'll see if one of those guys step up. And if they don't, this is another question in this golden age of football: is does Freeman go out and find a third corner in the portal during that little 10-day window or week window, whatever it is?
So Notre Dame has Devonta Smith from Alabama as their nickel, but in terms of outside corners, you got Christian Gray and Leonard Moore. That's going to be your guys. But man, knock on wood, one injury away from maybe having to play a true freshman. But is Carson Hobbs like your number 2 nickel? Because he was in garbage time in nickel, right? Mm-hmm. Carson Hobbs.
Yeah.
But is he that, or is he able to play outside? I've heard good things about Carson Hobbs. But Ted, I'm going to have an article later this week about some intel that I'm hearing prior to spring ball. Just know there might be something that surprises you in there about the cornerback spot. When you see it, you got to text me. By the way, Tim,
it's not wide receiver intel, right? As long as it's not wide receiver intel, I'm good.
I can't remember if there's anything about receivers. What you texted me over the weekend, do you have that item with you right now by any chance?
Oh, we'll talk about it at the end.
Oh, so you do have it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay. All right. Tim's 5 spring ball burning questions. Number 3, who can handle defensive adjustments? Did I write that down correctly, Tim?
That's perfect, because the whole thing is about Mr. Who the heck's replacing Watts? That's what I came down to. This question is, you're losing Xavier Watts. The guy's going to be on, the Mount Rushmore of Notre Dame safeties for all time. 2 of the greatest seasons in Notre Dame history at that position. The communication, yes, Al Golden's leaving, but they're bringing in a guy that obviously runs a, high energy defense. He's been in the NFL. I'm sure it's Notre Dame football, for crying out loud. They're going to be able to check from man to cover 2, I'm sure. So who's going to be able to handle those things and motions, adjustments? The tight end.
Is this also like some leadership?
Leadership? Yeah. Obviously, Don Schuler's returning, but he's going to be on the modified, get a little break here and there. It's basically the safeties. Now that the Vatek guy doesn't get to practice, who in the world steps up? There is a hodgepodge of this little core, right? Talich, Urlacher, Ben Minnick, what's his name? Long's on campus. So that's 4 bodies right there. Not saying one of them starts because you got the Vatek guy. Oh, Jadon Blair's on campus. You have 5 safeties trying to figure out who could truly establish themselves as in that 2 deep as someone who may be able to replace X Watts, which is going to be it's going to be hard. I know people, just put so-and-so in. Dude, Xavier Watts was the ultimate ball hawk. he was a freakazoid with his big plays. So he's a stud. He's one of the all-time Notre Dame greats. You don't just put in Ben Minnick and just be, we're going to be okay. So
when you texted me your thoughts on these, you didn't actually put a question for number 4. You just put WR space WR exclamation point exclamation point exclamation point. So what's actually your question, Tim?
It's going back to what we started the opening the show up. Like, who in the heck's playing wide receiver for these quarterbacks to rep with, to showcase their skills with, right? I mean, we just listed guys who are not practicing. Basically the top 4 wide receivers are not even going to be here in the spring. Greathouse, Faison, the 2 transfers. Those are your 4 best ones.
Yeah.
So now it comes down to Cam Williams, Micah Gilbert. Is KK Smith in year 3 going to show up, or is he just going to be always talked about to the press? All 3 freshmen.
Elijah Burris.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All 3 freshmen are going to be there.
Yep.
So it is all about wide receivers. People are losing their mind in 2026, worrying about guys who are going to play in 2028. Who gives a damn? That's why you have the portal. Enjoy it. So let's worry about 2025 in this group of wide receivers, because there are some talented dudes in there. And don't forget, oh my God, Logan Saldate, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've talked about him a ton. So what is that? Six wide receivers to be able to work with your top 4 out. So
7.
Yes, exactly. So establish. Who's going to establish in that group? And obviously Cam Williams has been talked about a ton. Does he rise up as a super soft all of a sudden? Does the light bulb click in and he just takes ownership of all these reps he's going to get here in March and April?
And last one, Tim, which quarterback takes their first reps at the end of the spring ball?
Yeah, I started thinking about something, a quarterback angle. Maybe that really hasn't been talked about enough. And I'm thinking of, obviously, the guys, Tyler, Jack, and Kyle, who are in town and they get to go watch practice. So whatever the media availability is, there's usually one near the end. So when the guys, Jack and Tyler get to show up and it's practice 12, practice 13, whatever the heck it is, that week before the blue and gold game, who's that guy that goes out there? Because you're going to have 10, 11, 12 practices, let's say. Has someone established themselves over those 3+ weeks to be the guy? So all of a sudden when the press comes and they get their marching orders, you're not allowed to text or talk about anything. And as soon as they walk outside of the stadium, boom, they put in their hot list and it's so-and-so at quarterback. And if that's Steve Angeli at practice 12 or 13, he's probably got the lead. If that's Card, that's Minchie. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about near the end. Not so much the blue and gold game. That's just going to be blue and gold game's just fun. Fans go to the stadium. It's meaningless. Let's be honest. So you're not picking a starter off that damn thing. It's that last week of practice, that last media availability. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
I love you call it the blue and gold game. It's just kind of, it's not right. It's called the blue gold game, but the blue and gold game just sounds better to me based on what our website is, but I'll take it. All right. Are you ready for mine, Tim?
I like it. Yes.
Let's see. 3 of these we've kind of already talked about in the show. My first is, can Jabron Payne get back on track? At the top of the running back room, it's not changing. Or that top of the depth chart, it's not changing. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. Maybe there's a burning question is, could Aeneas overtake Price? Is that possible? Like, we know Deland loved Aeneas. How does Jawan Sider feel about the guys in the room? But I would still say it's safe to think that. But what about running back 3? What about Aeneas versus Payne? Because Tim, similar backs. They're not too dissimilar. Who scored a touchdown against Ohio State? It's Jabron Payne. Like, he played a big role for the Irish in 2023. Gets hurt in it was the spring game last year, right, Tim? Yeah. So he's fully back from a major knee injury. You have to think, I don't know if his eligibility is situation off the top of my head. Let's see. He's got 2 years of eligibility. Yeah. So it's like, do you have a good spring, get some tape, shop yourself around, or are you like, I'm going to go be running back 3? And Sider, it seems to be kind of a continuation in terms of, I'm going to play a lot of backs. I mean, he played multiple backs at Penn State. So if you're running back 3 and you really want to stick it out at Notre Dame, like there's a good role for you there. So I'm really interested to see what Jabron Payne looks like and how his spring goes. Number 2, yeah, how do the injuries affect spring ball? Or how much do they? Is it really just about getting some young guys looks and that, because it's that deep playoff run definitely had an effect on Notre Dame spring ball. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's not really a position that escapes. Whether it's modified activity, being out for the spring, or the individualized plan, every position group is affected by this. Even running back, Jay Love's getting a rest. So how does that affect things like the quarterback battle, especially Jalen Stroman's out, Tim just talked about, right? Like, man, what a great opportunity for some of those young corner or safeties. Whether it's Tay Johnson, I don't know what position will play between corner safety, whether it's Tay Johnson or one of the true freshmen incoming or a Ben Minnick, there's just opportunities there for some young guys. And so I'm curious to like how much these injuries impact not only spring ball, but the team as a whole. Number 3, how about a recruiting angle, Tim, as the local recruiting guy for Blue and Gold? Can they hit big? Can Notre Dame hit big on the recruiting trail? Some huge visitors coming to campus this spring in the 26th class and even 2027. Lots of quarterbacks on campus for next year's class. Can the Irish staff take advantage of some of these big spring visits? Kind of a off topic, but still very on topic and important. So I wanted to throw that out there. It is a big burning question of mine. Can Notre Dame hit big with recruiting? Number 4, can Gerby Lambert make some noise, Tim? What an X factor when you're looking at this Notre Dame football team. Will we see Gerby Lambert emerge and just take one of those tackle spots? Emil Wagner is definitely going to start at Notre Dame. You would assume he's going to stick in that right tackle spot. But you got Knapp, you got Lambert, you got Will Black getting here in the summer. Is there anyone else I'm forgetting for offensive tackle that would want to throw their, I mean, and Sullivan Absher, I guess, would be the other one. What does that look like? Can Gerby Lambert make some noise? I think it would be a good thing if he does. And then last one for me, Tim. Will Jalen Snead take the next step from being that like nice situational, rotational player, being that like Maris Leofeld type, to being an every down linebacker who can make the calls, who can just do a lot of those like leadership qualities? Can he take the next step to become, again, an every down backer and be versatile, right? Not just a situational third down pass rusher, that type of thing. Can he be out there every single snap? Will we see Jalen Snead go from finally break through that potential we know he has and just be a stud? So, Tim, what do you think about my 5?
Oh, I like them. I like them all. The Payne one is a nice one to look at because you're looking at the running back depth. People are like, well, what about Keidron Young? Yeah, what about him? He's a redshirt freshman with, multiple guys ahead of him. Can you jump into that group? Aeneas Williams is he's a stud. He was a stud in high school, and he came in right away as a true freshman, established himself. He's not going to lose that. Price, star, redshirt, get his feet wet, play a bunch as a junior. That's a great, I'm telling you, no one's talked about that, but Aeneas Williams is good as hell. Is there a way with a new running back coach? It's just like he blocks better. He's a better receiver. Is Williams our number 2? So that's a nice little angle there. How you jump on that, going back to Payne to see establish his old role as that third down guy, because he would block his tail off for you. Injuries, yeah, that's just going to be, you know what? And it's not, to me, it's really not as big because so many of those guys we expected to be out anyway. So it's more just about reps for those that are out there. And I think that's very important. Recruiting hitting big. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a boatload of dudes coming, which always are, obviously, during spring practice. It's a big moment. A lot of 25 guys you and Kyle have been reporting on are going to make way there. Some people want to complain about D-line, man. If they just get a quarter of the guys that are visiting, it's going to be a freakish class because they got a lot of big-time defensive linemen showing up. So that's going to be really exciting. And obviously we'll be talking about 27 quarterbacks already once Pot of Gold Day hits next week. So that's going to be fun. I love the Lambert one. is he in the group of five, or is he the next man in as that redshirt freshman? Being the next guy. That's why it goes back to Jagasol. I'm telling you, if Knapp's riding the bike on practice one and Lambert's out there at the left tackle, Jagasol's inside. It's Lambert versus Knapp. It's going to be Lambert versus Knapp for the left tackle spot. So that's something to keep an eye on. So, or is he just going to keep getting reps and be the third tackle? You got to have three. So that's something to think about. And then Snead is a perfect one. We've been talking about him since he committed, since he's been here. Tremendous athlete. I think Bowen and KVA are going to be the two starters. I think those are going to be the two guys inside. They're the two best playmakers. Obviously, Bowen with all his experience. But Snead is going to be right there in the mix, establishing himself as that true number 3 backer. And he's on the modified list because he played so much last year and he burned so much energy and such a tremendous athlete when they go their dime package, pass rush package, all those things. So we know he's going to play a ton, but you're right. Does he just take it over? Because he has 2 years of eligibility left. We got to remember that. So does he go out there and does he establish himself as a 2-year starter at 25 and 26? So no, I like the whole group of 5. It's 5 interesting questions. And the Payne one is fascinating because we just assume the running back is their pecking order. But there's some talented dudes up in there, and that's going to be fascinating to see how that thing plays out. Because we're expecting Love to get a lot of rest, which means Payne, Williams, Young are going to be battling for a lot of carries.
All right, Tim. You sent me this text. I'm not able to pull up the article, but who are the top 20? This is from Bruce Feldman at the Athletic Crew. The top 25 coaches in college football in 25. How high has Marcus Freeman risen? So Freeman was at what, 10 on his list?
No. Hold on. No, that was Stuart Mandel. Mandel's a clown. Mandel had him 10.
Oh, so he had him. Was that 6?
Yeah, he had him 6. Hold on. Yeah. Because they don't rank these guys. They do a good job of this every year. They don't rank a guy until you hit year 3.
I feel like we've done this topic so many freaking times this offseason as these because Ari did his, and Ari's, I think it was Ari's was all over the place, and Andy Staples did his. He had Dion in the top 10.
It's always talked about on the message board, which is awesome. But the top 4 from Bruce Feldman, I'm like, those are my top 4 to a T. Kirby Smart, number 1. I just went the 3 national championship coaches. There's only 3 of them in the country. Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Dabo. 1, 2, 3. There's your top 3. Steve Sarkisian, back-to-back playoff bids. It's been a head coach at multiple spots. Obviously, OC, national championship at Bama. I had him at number 4 just because of his experience, and he's gotten Texas the back-to-back, playoffs. And then, really, man, I'm telling you, the debate for me, it goes to 5. It goes to 5. Feldman had Kalen DeBoer. So he had Kalen DeBoer just because his getting Washington to the national title game. Obviously, Bama took a hit, but he goes off his past experience, all those things. So he took a lot of it. I think it's a Dan Lanning versus Marcus Freeman debate. That's my opinion.
So where do you have Lanning?
I have those 2 guys tied.
Where did he have Lanning?
He had Freeman, 2 seconds. He had Freeman 6, Lanning 7. Franklin 8, Campbell 9. I'm a Matt Campbell fan, man. Dude, you don't win. Iowa State's atrocious. They've never had a 10-win season. Matt Campbell did it. Never had an 11-win season. Matt Campbell did it. And then he had Brian Kelly, number 10. So those were
I like it. It's a solid list. I feel like I'd put DeBoer at like. You made a national championship game. Yes, is in the 14 playoff though.
That's tough. That's he undefeated, obviously. And he beat Dan Lanning twice that year. So Kellen Boer's a good ball.
Yeah, he is. He's still
Bama's an animal. He lost a lot of guys to the portal. Lost some of his top players. Obviously, 2 went to Iowa State. The center and Caleb Downs. So, but to me, it's year 4. I really believe. Obviously, Marcus Freeman had a great year 3. Dan Lanning's been solid all 3 years.
Yeah.
So Dan Lanning beat Ohio State by 1 at home, and then obviously got boat raced in the Rose Bowl. Freeman's 0-3 versus Ohio State. So that's, it's interesting because they're both young, both DCs. We've talked about this on the show before of, you got Elko, my God, Venables, Freeman, and Lanning, all 4 DCs, elite DCs, all hired at the same time. So Freeman, year 4, if he goes 9-3 and he's in the Pop-Tarts, boom, he's obviously going to be kicked, instantly out of that thing. But if he's 11-1 back-to-back playoffs, he's obviously established himself right there in that top 5. So I like the Freeman versus Dan Lanning debate just because it's pretty fun. He's had some big wins. He hasn't had the Freeman losses. He has not lost, the turds on his schedule. So that's I may give him a hair above after 3 years right now going in. So how about it'd be 51-49, I guess, if you want to be that close. And also people, this is my thing, is also people will say as they watch this and they comment, and we always love the comments, is well, Freeman went to the title game. Yeah, he lost to Ohio State. He played Ohio State 2 weeks later than Lanning. So what if he played him? What if Notre Dame played them in the Rose Bowl? Is he out quicker? You know what I mean? So as we know in playoffs, it's all that seeding in your rotation as you get there. So Dan Lanning was 13-0, and he got to play Ohio State his first playoff game.
Yeah, well, I'm a big Liverpool fan, and Liverpool finished the group stages of the Champions League top, and then in the knockout stages, their first matchup was against PSG, the best team in France, and it's like, you really get rewarded for finishing top of your group with freaking PSG, and they lost. PSG beat them in 2 legs. So, it went to penalties, but it's how it goes sometimes. It was very similar to Oregon. It felt like it's like, man, how do you win it? And then you win the group stage, and then you get rewarded with PSG. It's like, all right, but it sucks.
No, I mean it's a kicker when the play. I mean that's why we're having this. Not we, but obviously the nation and the presidents and the EDs are having this conversation of reseeding this thing. And like, how, as we know, had it been a real playoff, obviously take your conference championships in. I think it would have been Oregon playing like in Indiana is the 1-8. I forget who it was, or playing Tennessee or something like that. You know what I mean? It's Oregon.
The 8-9.
No, I'm talking about Oregon. Had it been like a true seeding, they would have been 1 playing 8. And the 8 in this case is Ohio State. Ohio State was really what, the 5th or 6th team. The 5th seed, they should have been, I think, the 5th seed, if I remember right. So not 8, because Boise, Ohio State jumped them, or excuse me, Boise and Arizona State jumped them. So it would have been an easier path for Oregon. As you say, you're 13-0, and you get to play the preseason number 1 team in the quarterfinals.
All right. I don't have Feldman's list from a year ago, Tim, but how about from 2 years ago?
Okay.
Saban, Kirby, Dabo, Jim Harbaugh, James Franklin, Ryan Day, Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly, old Bayou Brian loves his family, Kyle Whittingham, and Lance Leipold. Don't get me started on Lance Leipold.
Tell you, man, the guy. Hey, he's in the top. Hold on, Mike. He's in the top 15. The guy could coach. He's number 14.
That's fine. That's fine, but you can't be top 10.
Here's last year's real quick. Kirby was 1. Dabo was 2. Ryan Day was 5. Sark went from 11 to 4. Kalen DeBoer was 4. Freeman not ranked. Lanning not ranked because he doesn't rank guys.
Yeah.
Franklin went from 7 to 8, so he's been top 10 back-to-back years.
You know what?
Brian Kelly has gone 8, 6, and 10 the last 3 years. So there's his little rank.
I'm actually okay with Lance being, whatever in the top 15. But it was prior to this season, it was people talking top 5 with him, 3rd best coach of college football. Maybe he is, but you haven't done jack shit. I don't care. You took Kansas to a bowl game. Congratulations. You're not a top 5 coach of college football. Come on.
It's Kansas, man. It's like Kurt Signetti taking.
This is not last year's list. This is 2 years ago. Texan, you got to listen. So I said 2 years ago.
I know.
March 9, 2023.
2 years. But No, see, and that's real quick. For me, I like to look at coaches that have won games at some of these places that never win games.
I get it. I
I
get it.
find it impressive. Like Manny
6-6 at Kansas is different. I get it, but
yes, without a
Mark
doubt.
Andrews says Mike Kansas was the worst program at D1. He's a great coach. I didn't say he wasn't a great coach, Nimwit.
He's definitely a top.
Not top 5, top 10.
That's what I'm saying. You win at places like that. Hell, he won at Buffalo, for crying out. We talked about this a year ago when the guy on the message board was all about Lance should be 1 or 2. I remember.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Franklin hovers around. Franklin, the record atrocious versus top 10. But just that list right there, seeing the guys who aren't even in college football, it's just like it's wild to look at some of the changes. Kyle Whittingham has a horrible year. All of a sudden, he's not even ranked anymore. But
that was a bad year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the top 3. People like to poo-poo on Dabo, yet he wins.
Tim, he wins. It's a very subjective thing. I would have Dabo over Day. I'm much more about like your accolades. What have you done? And it's not just what have you done for me lately. What have you accomplished? So
it's easier to win Ohio State than Clemson.
He's won. Dabo's won more than Ryan Day has, and like Kansas. Congratulations. I'm not grading you on a curve. I don't care. Personally, I don't grade you on a curve because you're at Kansas.
Well, it's like Matt Campbell for me. Him being in the top 10, I respect that because, he's
been there a long time.
He's been there a while, man. See, and I like to look at guys like if Matt Campbell's at Notre Dame, is he going to win? Yes, because he could coach and he could develop. Yes. So that's what I look at, guys. Can that person have success at Notre Dame? So there's a handful.
Except for Kansas State fans. JCar says the show's lost all fans who live in Kansas, except for, fans of the Wildcats.
Chris Klieman's a top 15 coach, so there's another good ball coach.
Well, I will
Big Ten's
keep my mouth close on that so I don't lose all of our Kansas folks. Well, Tim, that is going to do it for this show. But folks, listen, next week, this show is going to move to Wednesday so we can do a spring ball recap. Tim and I won't be at spring practice, but we're going to bring in Tyler Horka. Tim and I are going to ask him questions about what he got to see, and we'll react to it. We'll have a good discussion, so make sure you join us for that. And then, I think, Tim, once we get into May, we're going to really ramp up talking about recruiting. If we get commitments and whatnot, we'll discuss that, but we'll get more into recruiting as we get closer to those big official visits in June. But that is going to do it for this show, folks. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com. It is your home for all things Notre Dame Fighting Irish football and recruiting coverage. Also basketball, men's and women's coverage right now. Tons and tons of good stuff over on the website. So make sure you check it out. Again, folks, that's going to do it for this show. Appreciate you watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.